So, Peter, an impact of once a day on cow production. We're doing 1.22 at the moment. Typically, you'd be doing about 1.4 at the moment, still 1.45.
So that doing what? Sorry, the
impact of once a day on per cow production.
Yes, yeah. This week they've dropped back a wee bit to about 1.22. They sort of last couple of weeks before that they're in that 1.3, 1.35. Yep.
And what would you normally be doing about now? About
1.5, 1.6 normally. Yep.
Yeah. So it's certainly put a bit of a dent in the per cow production, but even with sort of stolen trips being about 20 kilos a cow. So yeah. And one of the motivations for once a day was to try and that was the theory. Is that
yes? Yeah, it seems to. Obviously, the cows are certainly working a lot harder. They're cleaning paddocks up pretty well to really good residuals. So, I think these cows just know how to eat, so it's hard to cut them back.
Yeah. And impact on cow condition and lameness side of it, Peter?
Yeah, so cow conditions is looking good. We haven't actually done one for about 6 weeks. We're due to do one in a couple of weeks, which will give us our sort of condition for cows going into the winter. But looking at them, they're looking extremely good. So it's certainly helped there. Somatic cells have been pretty low, even going once a day. We were sitting below 100, but now we're sort of averaging around about 120 to 140 sort of thing on once a day. So that's held well. And lameness is there's been a couple, but nothing too major.
Yeah. And in terms of dealing with COVID-19, you mentioned before you've been running 2 teams of 2. How's the staff found that, and have you found it as well?
Yeah, no, it's gone quite well. I think the staff have been quite bored. So they're quite keen to be here for the 3 days on. Yep.
Yeah. How many hours a day would they be working at the moment, Peter?
Probably 6 hours. Yep. So, yep.
Yeah.
We did go to afternoon milking. Normally, if we went once a day milking, we would have done morning milking, but because of the COVID and that, we decided to do the afternoon milk in the afternoon just because of what was happening. Yep.
Look, we'll come back, Peter, to winter feed, but I'll just look at everybody before I come to my computer and take it over. You want to show us how the cows are looking? Yeah.
Yep.
Looks like you've been laying out a rugby pitch in the
Yeah. The pitch grid's going into the corners, so. I'm looking great.
Peter, how long have they been in there for?
They've just had a day break, so they've had silage on their night break, and they've had a day break, and they'll come back here for another feed tomorrow. They'll go to another smaller break tonight for a night feed with silage, and they'll come back here tomorrow to clean this up. Yep.
And any reason why that silage is on a separate paddock?
Just so they get a night feed out of here. So they'll get silage back here tomorrow.
Yeah, super.
It's been a wee bit fiddly with the irrigation upgrade that's going on, trying to keep fences up and everything else. I've cut a lot of fences and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, just a bit tricky at the minute.
LUDF's pretty wet in the autumn. They've been remarkably dry this year, hasn't it?
Exceptionally dry. It's actually we started irrigating about a week ago for about 3 days because it just got so dry. And normally you know, we get that wet this time of year, we sort of try and dry it out a wee bit for the autumn, but we had to start it up again.
Yeah.
And the worst thing is, I think that we're really seeing the pastures are looking quite bad. Lower nitrogen at the moment. I think it's just because they've been under a bit of stress this autumn, and yeah, they're looking worse than what I've seen them for a long time, actually.
Yeah. Well, they've had no pasture damage there, no pugging this autumn, so they should be touring up pretty well, shouldn't they?
No, sorry,
with no pasture damage, we haven't had any pugging, so hopefully they'll tour up.
oh yeah. Zero pasture damage this autumn.
Yeah.
Yep.
So how often have you irrigated in the autumn, Peter? How dry is it for us?
How dry? Yeah.
Yeah, since you've been on the farm, how often have you irrigated this late in the show?
Oh, I can't ever recall irrigating end of April, early May. No, definitely not. So we probably should have irrigated earlier, but we kept sort of looking like we're going to get that rain, but it sort of just never came. So just had to do it in the end.
Yeah.
3 weeks ago we got 38 mils, and I thought that was, you know, we were going to be away laughing, but and not have to worry about it. But then this week was really dry after that.
Yeah. Fantastic. Explaining to the group where we're at. Peter does a farm walk every Tuesday morning, and the information gets put into pasture coach. At the moment, the average cover is 2270, and we've got pre-grazings down at sort of 1500. So pre-residuals sitting at 1500 and pre-grazing 900. Looking at the budget at the moment, this is just an Excel spreadsheet that I use that shows what's behind. So I can show you what's behind the numbers there. So we've got, as Peter mentioned, 442 cows. Cows at the moment are eating doing 1.22. Sort of production with our 500 kilo cow. Expect our cows to be eating just over 50 kilos. Silage, 4.5 kilos a cow, which means at 11 ME. So our cows are about just over 11 kilos of grass per cow per day at the moment. Based on our round length of 45 days and a 2270 average cover, we need to be, the theory is that we need to be going into 2950 and leaving 1600 behind. And if we look at where Peter's wedges, which I'll jump back to, that's working. Our demand's been sitting at 30 kilos, 32 kilos for the last week. Our growth rates have been 40, but we haven't seen cover lift they would expect. So something's not quite perfect with those numbers, but at the end of the day, our feed wedge is working quite nicely. So if you look at our coming through in terms of pasture coach, and that's the feed wedge running there, sort of 2950 pre-grazing, 1500 residuals, and that feed wedge is working quite nicely for the next 2 to 3 for the next round. Peter, trying to get through to about the 27th of May.
28th of May, yes.
Yeah. So, and now, with a 45-day round, we've only got half the farm as of tomorrow to go through. And you can see our feed wedge rain and getting too much rain is looking spot on to make it to lactation, into lactation pretty well. So it's shaping up pretty well, Peter, even though it's been a bit of a sluggish autumn.
Yeah, no, it's looking doable.
We also run the farm, we've got every sort of thing going for the this is FarmX, which we monitor the farm, where we keep the land for the and the blue dots on the bottom of the pasture coach numbers that come through. The blue lines are Terra in terms of the pickup. So at the moment we're on track for 510 kilos a cow. You can see we've had to put in quite a slug of silage here this autumn, more so than we normally do. and because the growth rates in April were certainly back a bit from where we expect the farm to be. In March, actually, it was probably March that really did the damage, wasn't it, Peter?
Yes.
Normally grow about 60 kilos a day for LUDF in March. We've only done 46 this year. But because we had such a good spring and really good calving spread, we had a hell of a lot of a good chunk of front-loaded production. So still on track for a really respectable result of 5-10 kilos a cow, which is probably the best result you've had, Pete.
Yeah, getting up there. We've had one better. Yep.
Had one better. But getting the tail end has probably been one of the poorer seasons. It's pretty good. So it just highlights the benefit of having a bit of milk production under our belts right from the start. So that's our feeding program. That's what we're on track for at the moment. Got some questions coming in. Yes, we'll get Peter's microphone sorted. Silage on hand. Yeah, we have done a feed budget on that. And that's one of the reasons why we went once a day. Because on our silage budgets, we are going to run out about bang on the end of next spring based on a normal season. We've got about 500 kilos of dry matter. 50 kilos of dry matter up per cow up our sleeves. So that was one of our motivations for going once a day as well. 1,500, is that too low if it gets too wet? In reality, what we tend to find with Lincoln is our rounding patches start speeding up, so we won't get to 1,500. We end up starting to leave feed behind and speeding our round up. So it's one of the consequences of dealing with a really light farm at the moment. Peter, 1,500 is a hell of a lot easier to do with once a day. Cows are happier to push the residuals down to that.
I wouldn't say happy, but they're doing it. Yep.
Yeah. And as the demand's on its way, and because you're not moving, even though you're moving cows a bit today, Peter, not moving them around is helps those residuals and helps minimise damage as well. A lot of damage is done on this farm when you're moving cows in another paddock. Your comment, Peter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We probably wouldn't be able to do it so well if it was a bit wetter because they have getting a lot smaller area. So, if we had sort of most normal autumn conditions, we'd probably be doing a wee bit more damage on smaller areas like we've been doing. So, yeah.
So, in terms of we've been fortunate, Peter, to get rid of cows, our cull cows. But our winter feed budget's under a bit of pressure, isn't it?
Yep.
A bit of a catch up with the group in terms of where we're at with our winter feed.
Yep. So where we winter our cows mostly, that's dry land, and obviously with the autumn we've had, there's not going to be enough there. So I've had to source feed elsewhere for about 180 cows. So just to take the pressure off there a wee bit.
Yeah. So and that's one of the risks we have with dry land winter feeding. We've got rape and Italian and a few oats, and on pretty light soils, which is just out of Christchurch by between Rolleston and Templeton. So even though we had good levels of silage there, we haven't been able to unlikely to make it there. So rather than pushing it too hard, we're going to have to push our cows elsewhere. Questions around sort of our round lengths. Did we get it out too early? Could we push the round out? Should we have done it a bit sooner? Have we left it a bit late? The probably in hindsight, the damage was done. Not so much around round length, but just our cover dropping a bit too hard and fast in mid-March. Peter was away, having a bit of surgery on his knee, and we had Will keeping an eye on it, and it was probably a wee bit extraordinary in terms of that growth rate then. So as soon as it was spotted, it was dealt with, but we just haven't had a chance to, as you can see, the growth rate's plunged from 50 to 35 late March, so we just didn't get a chance to get back on top of it. So hence we've had to drop the demand with once a day. And we were 4 kilos of silage, 5 kilos of silage is probably just plenty enough for cows. For those of you who are grain feeding, you probably could have used that as a tool, but we decided not to spend the money and just drop the demand deliberately to get our way through it. Dry matter on intake, yeah, it does to the point before. If you can see on my screen there, we would have been doing 1.45 at the moment. So that would have had cows eating more like 16.5 kilos per cow. And we're down to 15 kilos live weight. You know, the cows, that's not taking account any extra needed for live weight gain if they're putting on weight. And 2.7 cows to the hectare at 1 times 1.5. Our demand's dropped by 4 kilos per hectare per day, so 120 kilos a month. And that's where we could just see, and bear in mind we made the call at the start of April, we could see where we're going to fall short of our cover targets. So hence that's one of the calls, one of the reasons why we went to go once a day. And certainly with people with extra cows on board at the moment because of the struggling cows into the works. And one thing I've been recommending to farmers is to drop cows onto once a day if your cover's coming, which it is for many people just this last week. And you will pick up the milk production at the end of the day because you've got more cows on once a day. So you probably find the final result, the final kilos that end up in the vets, just similar. Winter feed being tight will put pressure on early spring pasture. That's why we've made the calls that we have. We've got, Peter, you've got support land a bit on the east block, and we have 8 hectares around the road as well.
Yeah, 12. Yep.
12 hectares. Yep. What we call Jackie's block. So the cows can all go to winter feed. And then heifers are back 15th July, Peter?
No, probably a bit earlier than that, 10th, 8th or 10th, yep.
And our cows?
Yeah, well, some are due to calve on the 27th of July, so there'll be an earlier mob come back sort of around that 15th, 20th of July, and then hopefully the rest sort of in dribs and drabs into August, hopefully.
Yeah, and because we've got those 2 blocks quite close to the platform, it means we can just carve them pretty much right on the boundary. So especially with our tight carving spread, it just takes the pressure off the farm. It is a wet farm, so the less springing mobs and tight mobs that we have on the farm, the better to minimise the damage in the springtime. So that's why we've made the calls already around our winter feed budgeting, and I have done that, and we're going to have some focus on our next webinar, looking at our winter feed budget and impact on cow condition, etc. as well, and how it works. Cool. There we go in there, Claire. We've dealt with most of the questions that have come in.
Yep, think so. Yep. Looks like people are keen for an online trading session and feed budgets at some point, so that's something to keep in mind.
Yeah, cool. We can get into some of that in the winter feeding day. Great. But while we've got it up in front of us, this is just a pretty crude one. Dairy NZ have got a number of feed budget planners there. But probably the key thing at the moment is to bear in mind, as I highlighted before, that the amount that your cows are milking at the moment will determine how much cows need to eat at the moment. So if your cows are still honking along once a day, as we've done, that's why we did that, to really just drop that demand. Another tip as well is that if you multiply your round length by your demand, that's how much grass you need to have available. So if we go back to pasture coach, 45 times 30 is, where did that in my head? 1550, 1450. So that's the difference between the residual and the pre-grazing. So there's some tips there for you. So that's what makes that line up behind there. So that slope of that line is from the top to the bottom is your round length times your current demand. That's the maths that Peter's used there. Cool.
All right. Well, if there aren't any more questions, we will wrap this up then. Thanks everyone for joining us. And yeah, we'll be back in 2 weeks to host a webinar on the winter feed. So great. Thanks everyone.
Cheers.